See, guys, I used to believe that as long as I aligned my passions with my professional path, financial stability would eventually follow and the life of my dreams would eventually unfold. But I'm going to be very honest and frank. After years of completing my degree, I honestly still find myself struggling to find my feet in a career or in a particular professional path. It's still not really very easy. And whilst there are peers who have studied with me, managed to get high earning opportunities right out of uni, I'm still stumbling. So I'm going to explore the question of why that is in this video, and I'm going to also answer it because I have the answer. As I'm sharply approaching the age of 26, with that obviously also comes reflecting on your path. I'm coming to grips with the harsh reality that there's passion and there's purpose, and then there is what pays your bills and puts food on your table. So now your passion and your purpose doesn't necessarily do that, at least not right away. Let me start like this. Do you know what an idealist is? Does any of you guys know what an idealist is? Idealists are the type of people who envision the world as it should be rather than accepting the world for what it is. It's the people who dream to make the world a better place and who want to fix all the social ills in the system and want to help others and create social impact and hold other people's behaviors to high standards and expectations and just struggle to understand when things are just not the way they ideally should be. Well, guys, guess what? I am one of those people. All my life, I've been running by my idealistic tendencies, also in my professional life. So, with that being the case, naturally, I was drawn to the helping professions, the stuff that involves creating positive impact, working with people. So, I went to study psychology, and out of uni, I ended up working in roles that involved helping people, meaningful roles, creating meaningful impact. And it was genuinely what I wanted to do at the time. It was genuinely what I was interested in doing at the time. And I was always very adamant on refusing to work in any kind of industry or role that I felt was like not aligning with my interests or with my values, or where I felt like maybe were exploitative or unethical, which a lot of industries in this world are exploitative and unethical. Hey guys, so we are now back in a slightly different background, different outfit, different day. Because when I was recording yesterday, time was running out and I had to be somewhere. So I just had to stop. And today we continue the discussion. But just going back straight into the discussion, let me draw a little bit from my own personal background story. So I am coming from a family where no one had gone to uni. Within my immediate family, at least, it was just me, myself, and one message that just resonated with me, which was that of, oh, pursue your passions, pursue your interests when it comes to choosing your education, choosing your career. Pursue what interests you, what's fun to you, what you're passionate about. And it's also important to mention that at 19 years old, I had very little real understanding of money, wealth building, or even like genuine sense of the type of income I should strive for within my life. And on top of that, with student loans and government support, having all this passive income, I had a very little sense again of having to independently financially provide for yourself and actually be fully financially responsible for your own survival. So, all of these things gave me the comfort to still be in this mentality and this mindset of, oh, if I just stay true to myself, everything will naturally fall into place and the life of my dreams is naturally going to unfold. At the point I graduated, and all those financial safety nets of student loans and government support fell away overnight. And that moment, reality hit. And reality hit hard. That survival instinct kicked in like this, literally. All of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I really felt this deep urge of I need to make money enough to build the life I envisioned, enough to sustain my current lifestyle, enough to live comfortably. And the idea of continuing a lengthy educational path whilst juggling low paying jobs just felt overwhelming for me because up until that point, I've already just functioned. All I did was obviously all your youth, all your childhood you spent going to school and then, you know, go straight into uni. And even between finishing school and going into uni, I was working full time to save up money for uni. I always functioned up until that point. I never actually lived life. I never really lived my youth. I never really used the vitality of my youth to actually live. I did up until that point, I haven't even gone to anything called a vacation yet or a girls' trip. I don't know what that is. I was burnt out. I could already see myself stuck in the loop of study, struggle, function, survive, repeat. Study, struggle, function, survive, repeat. My entire 20s, if I was to just continue this lengthy academic path into becoming a psychologist. Because for sure, I wouldn't have financial backing. Obviously my family's low income, they wouldn't be able to really back me up financially like that, and for very sure I would, have to end up working jobs within the psychology field, which at bachelor's level are just not well paid at all. So I couldn't see myself possibly doing that whilst focusing on postgraduate level studies, being that academics already doesn't really come very easy to me in the first place. So I made a tough call, which was to drop out of my master's. Because guess what? After my bachelor's, I went, of course, to jump straight into a master's because the girl must continue to function, right? So after discontinuing the master's, I was still very much committed into staying within the space of social positive impact, social care type work, and I've been working within that space. But after years of fixing external problems and uplifting others, again, I started to burn out. I was just asking myself, how can I continue to pour into others and, advising others on how to live their life or, how to fix their lives when I am not even yet living the life that I've always wanted for myself? I'm still finding myself struggling, and in working those jobs, not being paid adequately. So I was just asking myself, what am I actually doing? So my life and my profession just involves assisting other people in their own lives. When me myself, I don't even have my own life under control. Like I'm not even living my life to its highest potential right now. So I asked myself, what am I actually really doing here? I live just to assist others, and I'm not even happy with my own life that I'm living. And me myself, I'm even struggling to get by. So as I reflected, this painful question emerged of, is this it? Will I spend the rest of my life answering to others, drained by work, unable to prioritize my own dreams just to get by? And I looked into other roles within the type of, helping professions, NGO type space, and try to find like a path that would be financially also sustainable. But the reality was quite consistent. There is very little funding within that space. So, guys, to any other good doers and idealists out there, let me give you some game. This world is not designed for people like us to thrive. It doesn't operate in a way where we naturally excel. It just doesn't. And unless you don't mind living a very minimalist life, a simple life, that's fine. But if you don't want to end up financially struggling throughout your life, you have to better learn how to work with the system and just pray that you don't lose yourself in the process. So, guys, here's the truth. We live in a world where what makes money makes sense, and fields that focus on humanity, care, or some type of social positive impact, social transformation, or anything that is concerned with, you know, the well being of people, the well being of society, those fields are chronically underfunded and there's no money in it because the system doesn't care about people, it cares about profit. And for any of those who have worked in NGOs before, they can co sign to this thing that even NGOs, the first thing that they do is chase money, they chase funding. And they do shape their goals around what sells first, what appeals to donors. Impact becomes about metrics, packaging, and donor appeal first. And little passion projects get sidelined. In our society, money flows where profit is guaranteed, which is in tech, finance, energy, pharmaceutical industry, and business. The world runs on what the economy demands. And don't get me wrong, some people do follow their passions and become successful in it. But let's be honest, what backup do they have? Yes, we do have the rags to riches stories. But what did they also have to go through in order to do the rags to riches? Are all of us built to be going through the rags to riches stuff? So most of your musicians and artists actually had advantages in place for them: a strong support system, wealth, connections that allowed them to fully dedicate themselves to their passions or invest in long paths such as medicine or psychology. Why do you think a lot of the people within the medicine courses or psychologists actually come from high income family backgrounds? So, and the reality is, when you don't have that safety net, you have to prioritize survival first. You have to be real about where you come from and your background in order to understand where you have to start from. For some, the road to success begins directly with passion because they can afford to do that. And for others, unfortunately, it requires to submitting to the system first, to submitting to the demands of the economy first. So, up until now, my message is not that you cannot pursue your passions, but my message is that unfortunately, you have to play the long game sometimes in order to pursue your passions and also make sure that you are financially straight. And also, if you're an idealist like me, there's another uncomfortable truth. You can't make positive, large scale impact without money and status in the first place. You need those things in place first, even to make a certain amount of impact. Because in this world, money and status equal power. So if you genuinely want to impact this world positively, I'm sorry to say, but you first need to acquire the resources that give you the influence. And acquiring those resources mostly doesn't happen through passion professions or the NGO sector. It happens by playing by the rules of the system first. So, and that's just like a reality that, especially those ones that are passionate about, positive impact and passionate about working with other people, have to come to grips with. You're just not going to make money through that. You have to make money in other ways first. You have to see where the money flows within the economy and go where the money resides, unfortunately. The reality hit of this video is just this. If you want financial success and don't happen to come from a certain financial privilege, you have to play by the world's game first. Unfortunately, you have to seek opportunity where it actually exists and pays off, even if it doesn't align with your initial interests. Because in our world, opportunity follows money. And in this world, what makes money makes sense. Sometimes you have to be strategic rather than sincere. And I know for a lot of our good doers and idealists out there, we want to be sincere. We want to be so honest and we want to be authentic with people. But the truth is, people follow the crowd. They don't care about your authenticity. Sometimes you have to be strategic and even manipulative. Sometimes you have to play a part to present what people want to see in order to get ahead. You have to be fake because most people value surface level gimmicks, ego strokes, and feel good vibes more than authentic connection or interaction. So now, after coming to that epiphany, I'm learning to play by the world's rules first because I do want to have a level of financial stability in my life. And I guess it takes to do that in order to acquire that. And yeah, maybe I'm quite late to this realization. And maybe it also feels like a compromise, a very huge compromise. But maybe it's just all part of a long game. And you just have to pray that you don't lose your soul. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's possible to build wealth first by submitting to the system and then follow your passion out of that? Or does that path risk losing who you are? Have you ever felt in your life that you had to choose between survival and meaning? Please like and subscribe and feel free to share your thoughts about this in the comment section below. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.